So a couple things that I've learned. So we're gonna close the door. My wife's making fun of my intro. Anyways. You saw from the last video when we went racing that we had some problems still with RPM and whatnot. So what I think it needs is a stator. I'm still getting some input on that, but RPM just acts a little bit funny. It kind of goes down and comes back up, and it really should be climbing in every gear, and third gear just kind of falls on its face. So I'm not sure if I'm overpowering the stator, the torque converter that's in the car. Could be slipping clutches, you know, I don't know for sure. First thing I have to do before I can even make that decision, because Pro Torque is gonna ask me for this data, is we need to put a pressure sensor on the transmission line so we can monitor converter pressure. Then I'll have to make another pass, another couple passes to get some data in to send over to Pro Torque so they can tell me if the stator that we have in the car is right for the power. Number two, my homie Tim came over to our camp at the drag event and caught me on to the new version of Holly that's out there. The software V6 is out. I didn't even know. And the biggest thing about V6 is that they made a bunch of changes in the shifter and the shifter options that frankly we need. It's what I've been looking for. Everything that I've been complaining about the shifter not releasing because RPM drop and this and that, it's all solved now with the V6 software. And it's funny because Tim was actually showing me the videos of his shifter doing the exact same thing, exact same problems that we're having. And I'm sitting there looking at the videos like, this is the problem that I'm having. And he solved it by going V6. So I think we're gonna give that a shot. Eager to get it back and try for those two things. And on top of that, we got some new tires on the way as well. So we should take care of that problem. Which means if I can get the 60-foot back to where it was when we were at the 8th mile show, yeah, it's gonna be fun. With the new mile per hour that it's hitting in the quarter, that's gonna be a fun day. It's gonna be... Oh, let's go ahead and get this thing a nice little cold start. Get it all nice and warmed up. It's a lot colder here in Houston too, so this is like cold start. Call it a wrap on that warm up. Okay, now we can begin the fun with the software update. Oh, this part makes me so nervous about bricking this computer. We have bricked Andy's once, and it was not a good time. Somehow I was able to unbrick it by connecting it to my car, but yeah, it was pretty crazy. So we'll see how this turns out. So I already have the pressure sensor and everything that I need to install it from previously knowing that I was going to need this. I get these sensors from Low Dollar Motorsports, and they come, they're pretty cheap. They come with the instructions on how to set it up in the Holly, a pin diagram, and the connector itself. So that's pretty handy. Got that set up, and I've got the fitting that I'm gonna need in order to run that sensor. So all we gotta do is just jack up the car. I gotta take the rear wheels off anyways, and take the line off, drain the transmission fluid. I do think that the transmission clutches are kind of iffy as well, so we may be fighting two things. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace the fluid now anyways, just to run these next couple passes, make sure that everything's in line there. And then I just have to do a little bit of wiring, and then that should be done. I'm going to replace the fluid, and this is actually where I'm gonna mount that sensor. One of these lines I think is the, it's a little bit wet though, I have to figure that out. That's just dirt. One of these lines is the one that I need to hook up the sensor to, so I'll just have to replace these and put them there. But what's up, Bubba? Oh, you're brushing your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll put our sensor here. We're gonna drain the pan completely, make sure that that has new fresh fluid in it, and go from there. So everything went successful, and what I had to do is add a new configuration right here for transmission. So now that's there, 3 gears obviously, and this is the beautiful new part here. So you can see there's a 1 to 2 and a 2 to 3 shift, all running off the same wire. Before I had to run 2 independent wires, and I could never really get it to activate and deactivate correctly. But this is going to be on a 1 wire setup. 1 to 2 is going to shift. I'm going to probably put it to shift around 6,800 and see what it shifts at. And then I'm gonna have 2 shift at 7,200, which I think will be just fine. The output time, this is the biggest thing of it all. I can set this to 2.2 seconds there, 0.2 seconds there. And yeah, that'll set it up so it's just a quick, you know, shift, and it's not really messing, it's not really trying to wait for RPM drop or anything like that. It should just pulse the wire real quick for that 0.2 seconds, deactivate it, and we're on to the next gear. So some other things that that we won't mess with but are included in this upgrade is converter lockup, spool assist valves, dump valves, you know, all kinds of settings for that stuff. But for now, the only thing we want to focus on is this shift output setup, which I think is huge for us, for this car, and hopefully it works out. I'm just going to look over some videos to make sure I have these settings correct, and then that should be it for that. So transmission fluid's coming out. I'm gonna give that about a day, run some fresh trans fluid just to get some of that dirt out of there. Then I'll put the plug back in it and put some fresh fluid in it and call it a day. That's really the only changes I'm gonna make before the test session that's coming up. Speaking of, big shout out to my wife Andy and Solomon. They actually surprised me for my birthday that's coming up and got me into Quick 30 that's coming up here in Houston. It's a private event open to the public, I believe. The prep is always great, and the air temperature is gonna be really great. So with the new tires that I got in, I'm hoping them to lay down a personal best 60 foot and mile per hour together for a new quarter mile personal best. If you're in the area in Houston, Quick 30, look it up, Facebook, Instagram. Should be a great time. We're gonna be out there hanging out with the homies. Possibly run it back with Solomon again. Who wants to see? Leave in the comments if you want to see that race go down again. He's gonna turn it up. I'm gonna turn it up. This time, I'm not gonna be spinning out of the hole though, so better watch out, Solomon, coming for you. Other than that, we're gonna break down the video here. After I get done with this, after this next event, I'm taking the car apart. We've got to install our EGT headers. We're gonna make some small couple changes, get some things cleaned up on the car for the winter time, make some videos, put it all back together, and I'll be ready early for Texas 2K this time. And I still haven't applied, but I'm hoping that I can get in. I'm gonna let the car do the work for the rest of the night, and I'm gonna go inside.